water bottle. And how about it down there, in-car commentator? How are things going?
Things are going real good, Mike. I'm just sitting there waiting on everything to get started.
Buddy, 2 cars will transfer. Have you got a good shot here, or is it going to be tough to race your way up front?
Well, it's always tough no matter what race it is, but the car seems to be handling quite well. If it'll go down the straightaway, I think we'll get a shot at them.
Well, in addition to you giving us your impressions, you're going to be the only car in the field with 17 cameras and 2 guys up here spotting for you.
Yeah, we had to take some lead out of the car, but we had a late night practice last night. We ran quite well. I was real pleased with the car.
Okay, well, good luck to you. We get a little into this race, and we'll get your thoughts, and we'll try to help you work your way up in the field a bit here. Buddy Baker was one here from the pole. I think I recall a World 600, Neil, that you sat on the pole, and he won.
Yeah, I kind of recall that too. You didn't have to mention it. He sure blew me away that day. But.
He can run here. Let's go up to the front of the field where Glenn Jarrett's with our pole sitter.
Well, a very fast lap indeed turned in by Brett Bodine to put it on the pole for this Winston Open. And Brett, your car's been running awfully well lately. Can you win this thing tonight? Put her in the Winston?
Well, I hope so, Glenn. You know, the guys worked awful hard to get a good setup for us, and you know, it's kind of a roll of the dice. Our last practice was at 2:30 this afternoon, and you know, conditions have changed. Hopefully, we've got the right stuff under the Quaker State Ford.
Well, what about running under the lights? Do you anticipate any problems there?
No, I really don't. You know, they've done a great job with the lights, and you know, it's different than running at daytime, but you adjust real quick to it, and kind of reminds me of racing back home, you know, every Saturday night, and here we are at Charlotte Saturday night.
Well, we know you're fast, but who are you worried about tonight? Who's going to be your strongest competition here?
I think it's going to be a race between about 6 or 7 cars. It seems like there's, you know, about that many that can run some fast times, and it's going to whoever ends up with the best deal under their chassis who's going to be in victory lane and who's going to finish second. That's one thing about this race. First and second really come out the winners on this deal.
Well, they're ready to buckle him up. We're just moments away from the start.
Well, he's not kidding, because first and second finishing this race transfer into the Winston and a shot at $300,000 in prize money. They're getting ready to roll here at Charlotte. The lights are up, the sun's headed down, and we'll be right back as One Hot Night continues. Darker here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and that big ring of lights around the front stretch grandstand and those tall posts all the way around the speedway and through the infield. But light this place. It's shirt sleeve weather all day. Temperatures up near 80 degrees, and it should fall into the mid-60s here this evening.
Mike, when you talk about shirt sleeve weather, last night was the first chance these fans had to sit down and watch racing, and they were talking about one hot night. They said it got to be a pretty cool night before they left last night with those short sleeves.
A little bit of cleanup continuing on the backstretch, then we'll be ready for racing. Right now, let's go trackside and meet the man who won this race 1 year ago.
And that's not all he won, Mike. The last time I was just close to him, we were at my brother Dale's house on Wednesday playing racquetball, and he won that too. Beat us pretty badly, in fact. Mike, you got a good fast car. 2 spots open tonight. How do you feel about it?
I feel great, Glenn. Everything has gone real well so far. We've just had some terrible luck in this Pennzoil Pontiac this year, and we're going to put all that behind us here in Charlotte. Race fans have been sending me junk to change my luck for a month now, and if they could finally work, and I'm armed tonight with 4-leaf clover in each front pocket, and a lot of hard-working guys on the crew that have got us prepared and ready to race tonight. I think it's going to be a good night for us.
Well, you like this racetrack, we know that. How do you like it under the lights?
I mean, it's just wonderful. It's everything you could ask for. I mean, just sitting here and looking out across the crowd, my hat's off to Winston and to Charlotte Motor Speedway for pulling this deal off. The race fans that have come out, I mean, they're in for a true treat. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's history-making event, and I plan on making a little history myself.
Okay, this guy's ready to go, too.
Thanks, Glenn. The report that the driver who was airlifted to the hospital with low blood pressure and head lacerations was Lee Tissett out of Arden, North Carolina. If we get a further update, we will pass it along to you here from the running of the Winston 100 Sportsman Race. Last year, the Winston Open saw Mike Waltrip defeat Sterling Marlin and Hut Strickland and Rick Mast, the front 4 finishers, to transfer. Let's check with another driver who hopes to race his way into the starting field for the Winston. Randy?
I'm down here with Dick Trickle, of course. Dick, you've had some great battles in this Winston Open. I know you'd like to get that transfer spot into the Winston. How's the car running, and what's it look like tonight?
Well, we're real decent, you know. The Bola brothers and Snickers people have been working with me real well, and we did everything we can. We struggled through the last 2 weeks. But we've got the car handling really well, and I'm just happy, and I think it's going to be a good race, exciting. Really the first major night race out here in Charlotte, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Dick Trickle, no doubt, should be a threat. Katie Haas, where are you at? We'll go to Katie now.
All right, well, I'm up here in the grandstands, in fact, and we have a fan here of Michael Waltrip. Now, this is Kathy Rose. Kathy, where are you from?
Cleveland, North Carolina, about 10 miles from my shop.
Is that right? And well, Michael has not won a Winston Cup race yet, and tonight they are asking fans of Michael Waltrip to bring good luck charms to help him get into the Winston. Now, what have you brought?
My sunglasses. When I wear them, I hope you win at every race.
All right. Well, he is starting on the outside pole tonight, and we're going to be looking for Michael Waltrip to be in the Winston tonight.
Great. I hope he wins.
Won't need those sunglasses for long, Neil. Mike Waltrip won this race a year ago, and 2 years ago, Dick Trickle won the Winston Open by 8 inches over Rob Moroso. Getting ready to roll once again here at Charlotte. We'll be right back. Exclusive presentation of the Winston is being brought to you by new advanced formula Rain Dance. You can't argue with science. The light is on the Oldsmobile safety car. The cars have fired and they're rolling off for 50 laps, 75 miles. The first 2 drivers will transfer into the Winston All-Star race that tonight will be run in 3 segments. 30, then 30, then 10 laps for all the money. Let's look at the starting lineup for the Winston Open. Brett Bodine starts on the pole for Kenny Bernstein in a Ford. Mike Waltrip in the Pontiac alongside. There's Dick Trickle, the 1990 winner. And Sterling Marlin, he's won this race. Derek Cope in his Chevrolet starts 5th. And the cornflake car, Greg Sachs, goes right alongside. Hut Strickland and Bobby Allison's Chevy. And Jimmy Hensley driving for Cale Yarborough. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Bobby Hamilton. And for the Jackson brothers, Rick Mast. Jim Sauter in the Miller brothers Pontiac. Jimmy Spencer in Travis Carter's Chevrolet. There's Buddy Baker. He's driving a Chevy tonight. And Sergeant Charlie Glatzbach is here in a Ford, the Junie Donlevy car. Dave Marcus starts 15th in his Chevrolet. And Wally Dullenbeck in a Ford goes 16th. There's Bobby Hillen in a Chevy. Veteran Jimmy Means in a Pontiac. Mike Potter, he's got a Chevrolet. So does New Jersey's Jimmy Horton. Jerry O'Neill from New York State with an Oldsmobile. Ageless H.B. Bailey from Houston, Texas, Pontiac. And James Hilton's back. He's in a Pontiac. Eddie Beerswall from Texas driving an Oldsmobile. And Gary Ballou, the hot shoe from Miami, in a Pontiac. Here's Buddy Baker on the first of 2 pace laps, getting ready to roll. Buddy, how's the lighting? It's about dusk, getting a little dark, and the lights are on full. What's it look like?
Well, I tell you what, we're ready to go here. Everybody's kind of cleaning their tires here. A lot of oil dry on the back straightaway, too.
You see a bit of a strobe effect there out the left window, Neil. The drivers have found a way to deal with that.
Mike, those strobe is those inside lights on the back straightaway. And what the driver's done, put a little bit of shielding over the left side of their helmet to take that strobe effect. That's the only thing negative, and it's not negative. That's the only thing that might be a little hindrance, but the drivers have a cure to fix it, and it's not giving any problems.
Let's look at Buddy Baker from that camera mounted just at the bottom of the dashboard as he gets ready to roll. He's a big guy. He fills up that cockpit. Won his first.
Don't talk too much now.
Talking to his crew. Is he talking to us or to his crew, I hope?
He's talking to that crew.
Baker's first career Winston Cup win came right here in 1967, and it halted Richard Petty's 10-race win streak.
The start of this thing is going to be critical, Mike. They need to get good positioning because it's going to be tough with this kind of cars to pass a lot of people, so it's going to be a scramble at the front.
50 laps, 75 miles, 2 cars advance, and we're under green. Michael Waltrip hauls Brett Bodine right down to turn 1. Grandstand full of flashbulbs. Trouble right away.
Sachs had trouble getting in the first turn.
Down on the apron, Greg Sachs. He's okay. Racing continues.
No caution.
Michael Waltrip heads them around turn 4 to complete lap 1. Brett Bodine is right with him, and it's Trickle and Marlin side by side for third.
That was an impressive move by Mike Waltrip to command the outside lane and take the lead away from Brett Bodine that quick.
Mike Waltrip trying to pick up where he left off last year. Bit of dust down to the inside. The lights magnify the effect of that. Those lights from the infield shining out. And we're on lap 2. Waltrip, Bodine, the green car, Marlin in blue, and then Trickle. 4-car breakaway.
That's some effect to see those lights strobing down the top of those cars. We're not in full darkness yet, and boy, it's already a great sight.
Back to turn 1. 2 cars advance and the rest go home.
I'll tell you what I'm seeing that looks unique, Mike. Look down in as they go in the first turn, you can see people shooting cameras all in the grandstand, taking pictures of the thing early in the race.
There's Sterling Marlin. Junior Johnson's Ford trying to move up on Brett Bodine. He is 1 spot away from qualifying. It's a tough race, Neil, when one guy wins and the guy right behind him is the bubble car.
It'd be different if one guy, 1-2 gets in the race. They might concede that, but just like little Waltrip having to fight back there, can't keep that lead, because if Bodine goes by, the opportunity is there for Sterling Marlin to go by, and here he comes right up on the inside.
Marlin has advanced to the Winston in 3 of its last 4 runnings. He won this open event in '86 and '89 and was second last year to Mike Waltrip. Dave Marcus is on pit road. Brett Bodine leads them around. Sterling Marlin in tow. The 2 Fords, then a Pontiac, then the Ford of Dick Trickle. Look at the flash bulbs up there in the grandstand. You bet.
People taking advantage of this opportunity to get the first shots of these cars in competition at night.
Brett Bodine with 1 Winston Cup win, the first Union 400 at North Wilkesboro 2 years ago. And Sterling Marlin looking for that first win, but with some good finishes for Junior Johnson. Back into the quad oval here, the front straightaway at Charlotte, in front of nearly 150,000.
Don't think that just because the first 2 get into the race that Sterling Marlin's not going to try to win this race. They're not going to settle down just 1-2 and let it ride. They're going to try to win the race. Sterling's going to put the heat on.
Back to battle for 5th spot, Hut Strickland. In the Bobby Allison car, the Ray Vestas number 12 has moved past the Purelator Chevy of Derek Cope. The Bob Whitcomb car number 10. That's 5th and 6th place. And Strickland looks to be a good bit quicker, but can he catch that front pack?
Mike, in practice, Hut Strickland was really running some fast laps. He ran down a lot of the cars that were really quick away from him and were able to reel them in. And it looks like he's able to break away right here and try to pull the front guys in.
Strickland running right on the bottom of the racetrack, the short way around. Now there's Buddy Baker in 47 drafting off of Jimmy Spencer. There's a look as Baker sees it. How about it, Buddy? Can you 2 guys draft your way up, or is it those guys just getting away up front?
There was that strobe effect we were talking about. You can see, Buddy, he's talking about he's pushing a little bit. The problem he gets into, you see him stick his car down under the 98 car. But when you do that, if he's got a little bit of push, watch his car slide up the racetrack. He's really having to wrestle the car, because with the push, it's hard to cut him. But Buddy did a good job and got under him right now.
And now Jimmy Spencer will get a chance to see if those 2 cars might be a little quicker with Baker in front, if he can hang on to Baker's draft.
I tell you what, a race car might push with Buddy Baker, but I'm telling you, he's big enough to make it not push. He can crank on that wheel and pull it down there anyway.
There's Baker going off into the corner. Back on the throttle. Back to the front straightaway. The car ahead of him is Bobby Hamilton, last year's Rookie of the Year, in 10th. Up near the front, Mike Waltrip in 3rd, Dick Trickle in 4th. Trouble turn 2. 1 car sliding. Gary Ballou, who would charge from last place to 15th. Loses control, jumps right back in it. Caution is out. First caution at lap 10. Gary Ballou had moved well from start at 26th. Won a 300-mile late model sportsman race here, now the Busch Grand National Series, in 1981. Was then driving for Ray Mock in a Pontiac. First caution of the Winston Open. They're under yellow. We'll regroup the field and be right back.
At the concession stand, of course, a lot of people come by here. I'm a name that we all know. I mean, Mr. James Taylor is here from South Carolina. James, how are you?
Just fine. How about you?
I'm fine. You're quite a race fan.
Yes.
What do you spend on souvenirs per race?
About $60.
$60. Is that all on one person, or do you have a favorite?
I have a favorite, Bill Elliott.
Well, we'll see how he does today. Thanks for being here with James Taylor. I mean, what else? I love your music.
Thanks, TG. There's Gary Ballou running back up with the pack. That's the Linro Motorsports car, team that Giacomo used to drive for, and they've got a Raymock engine in that Pontiac, the Terminal Trucking machine. He started 26th, it climbed to 15th, but then spins here. Neil?
Mike, it looks like the car got up from under him getting to the first turn. And Gary does a good job right here. He gets it under control, but watch the left front wheels. He's cut down off the racetrack, and boy, it makes a run at the inside wall, and then he gets it corrected one more time, and he didn't hit anything.
Nice save by Gary Ballou, and he is back out there running. Looks like we're going to go green this time. We'd like to get a word with Buddy Baker, but we'll wait while his spotter calls the restart to him, and we'll get back to green this time. Getting ready to go green. You're riding along with Buddy Baker, former Charlotte 600 winner. In 72 and 73, he won from the pole here. Look at the flash bulbs go off in the grandstand as he tries to race Bobby Hamilton in turn one.
Mike, there he goes up through the gears. He went from second gear up to third, back to fourth gear. Now you're flat on the gas down in here. At nighttime, the track doesn't go away. You just hold it wide open most of the way through the corner.
Trailing Jim Sauter, the Evinrude Pontiac, on the left. Bobby Hamilton in the middle, Rick Mast on the right. And he'll fall in and draft off Sauter. Fifth place battle, Hut Strickland, Derek Cope, and up front they are side by side for the lead. There they are. And just back side by side for fifth. Up front, Sterling Marlin's grabbed the lead. He's the third driver to lead this race. Number 30, Mike Waltrip, and 26, Brett Bodine have had a shot at the front spot. But now, the coffee's ready, and Marlin is out there percolating.
And right behind him was little Mike Waltrip. He knew he needed to go when he did. That first two places is the key. Look at the shuffle right now. 3 abreast coming off the corner.
And Strickland is running. Look at that 12 car, that Bobby Allison Chevrolet. Hut Strickland has brought that car right up through the field. Fifth place.
All afternoon in practice, it looked like the 12 car was able to get right on the apron through 3 and 4 and get his nose up under people. And when you can do that, you can usually make the pass down the front straightaway. Here he goes, right where we were talking about, the 12 car. Right down on the bottom, clears them, and that's been his strong suit through the middle of that corner, right on the bottom of the track. And there, you got a little loose, got a little nudge from the rear.
Hut Strickland has finished third in this race and fifth twice. Here's Buddy Baker moving up, going for 9th place on Bobby Hamilton. Jim Sauter in the Wheeler Brothers Pontiac trying to follow him through. Not that time. Wally Dollenbach's right there, number 16. And it's Baker and Hamilton. There's the length and breadth of 20 years of stock car racing right there. Bobby Hamilton, last year's Rookie of the Year. And Buddy Baker, who's won here as far back as 1972.
Mike,
down the front straightaway.
If he's got a little push in that car, it's going to get better for him. It will go away a little bit as the race goes.
How about it, Buddy? Can you do anything with Bobby Hamilton?
He's kind of busy right there.
We'll get back with him.
He's talking to us. We've got a little bit of a problem right there. He's sure trying to do something with him, Mike. He's working the car hard as he can. He tried him inside. Now he's running a little bit higher line. See if he can get the car to work up there.
Bobby had a run on Rick Mast, the number 1 car, the Skoll car. Couldn't get down underneath them. A single file up ahead of this pack, 169.5 miles an hour the last lap. Single file to turn 3. 18 laps completed of 50. Hamilton ducks to the inside. And further up front, Dick Trickle goes at it.
Derek Cope right there, Mike, just grazed the wall coming off the fourth turn, and Trickle was able to get up under him.
That's 5th place.
Cope really tagged the wall coming off 4, and it bobbled just enough for Trickle to get under him.
Trickle won this race in 1990, and here's Baker right back at Bobby Hamilton on the high side this time. And Mike Waltrip almost bites the wall there in 4.
Yeah, but I tell you what he did. Mikey ran real high, and it seems like Sterling's having to roll out of the gas, get in the corner, and Mike was able to drive up beside him on the outside. He almost got completely beside him going into 3rd turn.
Speed shot, middle of the backstretch. Gives you an idea of these near 170-mile-an-hour speeds here in Charlotte.
I tell you what, Mike's going to have trouble. If he passes this guy, he's got to carry all those 4-leaf clovers and borrow that girl's sunglasses.
I think you're right.
His car is really good through that part of the racetrack. Look how much he gains on him right there.
Well, the front of this parade, a Noah's Ark-like procession, 2 by 2. Marlin and Waltrip, the front 2. Behind them, Brett Bodine and Hut Strickland. I think Strickland is the sleeper in this thing.
And watch Mike Waltrip here going into 3rd turn. Seems like Sterling to go low, and Waltrip will take the high line right here. And right here is where he really makes a run. He's back in the throttle. He gets completely up beside him. What you got to be careful of is the 22 moving over. And they did move over and touch just a little bit, but Michael, I guarantee you they get back around again. Mikey will try one more time.
Well, there was room for about 2 cars underneath Sterling after he finished taking Mike up the racetrack. Still going at it for the lead. 2 cars will transfer to the Winston All-Star race from this.
Boy, that doesn't, when something like that happens, it really scrubs your tires. You make a real sincere effort to get around the guy. And it's kind of like loading the gun. You pull the trigger one time. Now he's got to reload. He's got to get it all back under him and make that run again.
Meanwhile, the 12 car, the Rebestos car of Hut Strickland, had a good run on Brett Bodine. And Strickland in this event finished 3rd last year, 5th the year before, and 5th in 1989. Looking to improve on that by about 3 spots. There's the front 4.
Now, Hut Strickland has been real strong right on the bottom of the racetrack. He's been able to drive up under people right here. See him get the nose down. The key is, can it stick and can you get back in the gas right here? When you get on the throttle, you got to be careful. The front end will slide up and hit the car in front. See him wiggle the car? He's not loose as much as he's having to steer the car down there not to gouge the 26 car in the quarter panel. He's up under him again.
Good, clean, hard-nosed, hard-fought racing, and Strickland completes the pass. Now, can these 2 cars hook up and knock down the leader?
I'm not so sure the 12 car is not going to drive away. He's shown the ability to run the 26 car down and just drive by him. So now his job is to run the cars down in front of him, and he might be able to do that.
Meanwhile, Buddy Baker has moved past the country time car, Bobby Hamilton, and he's right there battling Derek Cope. We'll mention that Greg Sachs has scrambled his way back up to 9th spot. But Buddy Baker is in heavy traffic.
This is a unique situation when you're a race car driver. Do I go to the left? Do I go to the right? Is this guy on the inside going to be quicker? He's having to really make up his mind which guy to go with.
He's battling Greg Sachs. That's 8th place at stake. Up ahead, the Cale Yarborough car, Jimmy Hensley, giving that car a great ride.
Sachs has really come back. You know, he spun on the very first lap of the race, and they didn't have a caution, which he benefited from the second caution. He really worked his way back into it.
Best racing on the track is right here at 6th place. The man with 6th is Jimmy Henson. On his right, Derek Cope, the Purelator car. That Kellogg's car, the yellow car, is Greg Sachs, and you're riding with Buddy Baker.
Mike, Buddy tried it. He tried it behind the Purelator car of Derek Cope. Now he had to get back behind the other lane because it's running quicker. So you just switch back and forth and try different sides.
Back straightaway, heading for turn 3. We're just past halfway in the Winston Open. Cope up the racetrack. Here comes Baker. Close call out of turn 4. And Buddy gives him a wave. And Bobby Hamilton gets loose. He's in the grass.
Buddy, he did a job of saving that. That right there was a job of driving.
And did the fans know it? They just roar.
I'm not saying Bobby Hamilton was driving it, but somebody sure steered that thing good for him because he did a heck of a job of keeping that thing straight. Bobby did an excellent job. Then he probably had a little help from upstairs with that one.
He and Buddy got a little bit together. Let's look at Hamilton again, folks. You're about to see the world's first 170-mile-an-hour lawnmower.
Right here.
He and Cope get together, excuse me.
Yeah, they get together. He starts up under Buddy right here, and he gets the left sides off on the grass on his own. He's totally out of control here. Okay, now all they do is straighten the wheels up. Straighten it up, get it back on the pavement, and then try to turn it. And he did a heck of a job of doing that.
No contact, and only lost one position. Let's go back up front and check on the leaders. The Maxwell House car, Sterling Marlin driving for Junior Johnson, number 22. Head of the pack, the Bahari, Chuck Ryder, Lawrence, Harry Pontiac. That's Mike Waltrip, number 30 for Pennzoil, and then the Ray Bestis Buick. Racing great Bobby Allison at the helm of that team. His driver, Hut Strickland. They're running 1, 2, 3 with only 2 cars to qualify and 21 laps to go. NASCAR's All-Star Night, the Winston, is brought to you by Slick 50. Starting your engine without it is a terrible thing to do. 33 laps down, 17 to go. Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet topside. Buddy Baker in car 47 commenting for us. Glenn Jarrett and Randy Pemberton on pit road. Katie Haas, T.G. Shepard are here too. And one hot night continues, and Mike Waltrip is trying to run off. He's got a 1.4 second lead.
Just as we went to break, Waltrip passed Sterling Marlin and drove off from him, and then the 12 car of Hut Strickland got around Sterling. So right here we see Sterling in 3rd place, and there's Hut Strickland right in front of him.
There's Strickland, Davey Allison's cousin-in-law.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Right.
And I thought he was gaining on him, but what's unique is Waltrip is, everybody's been in running low through the 3rd, 4th turn. Mike Waltrip goes real low through 1 and 2, and then he moves up and runs real high in 3 and 4, and he's found him a lane of his own up there.
Have a look back at H.B. Bailey, racing along with Jerry O'Neill of Auburn, New York. Bailey, veteran campaigner out of Houston, Texas, races purely for the fun of it. We'll mention that Jimmy Means has had trouble and dropped from this race, and that Ted Musgrave attempted to qualify but cracked the wall with his car yesterday, and as such did not start a backup car. Bailey driving 36. Best ever finish was 5th in the 1972 Southern 500. His moment in the spotlight. There's the battle behind Buddy Baker. Bobby Hamilton and the Country Time Olds continuing to race Derek Cope in the Purelator Chevrolet.
Well, I tell you, he's lucky to still be racing after that trip through the grass, and it didn't damage the car in any way, it looks like. Yeah, I see it. I see it didn't. Look down there on the left front. You see the spoiler broken loose, but that's not enough to affect it. There you go, the damage right down left front. These air dams really have downforce. It didn't seem to affect his car a whole lot.
No, he moves by Derek Cope and completes the pass.
Here's H.B. Bailey. We were just talking about him. A problem off 2nd turn. He's coming back across the track. Traffic coming up on him, but he got off the track before they got there.
Only the 2nd caution flag of the night in this Winston Open. It comes on lap 37 for H.B. Bailey, spinning at turn 2. And that will bunch the field. They race back to the flag and will go under caution. As they do, we'll take this pause from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Under caution for H.B. Bailey's spin, and surprise, everybody is pitting. There is Mike Waltrip, and just behind him, Dick Trickle had trouble getting into his pit stall. Here's Sterling Marlin making a stop. And only a few of the drivers stayed on the track. Glenn?
All right, I'm in Sterling Marlin's pit. The problem with the car was, Neil, as you and I speculated earlier, these cool temperatures have made the cars get tighter and tighter. They're making a 4-tire change. They took some weight out of the car. But one of the most interesting things, Junior Johnson is down. They had a problem getting out now. Oh, he lost 4 or 5 spots there. What I started to say, very interesting happening. They were going to top the tank off with fuel, but Junior went over and said, no, 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 that puts more weight on the rear of the car. Leave the fuel out of it. You don't need enough fuel to finish this 50-lap race. So they're doing everything they can to try to loosen up the car. Same problem with Brett Bodine. His car was getting tighter and tighter. So the cooler track temperatures really coming into play here, Neil.
Well, however, Neil, Brett Bodine stayed on the racetrack. The rest of these cars all good.
With about 10 laps to go, it's kind of, makes you wonder why, if everyone would be different, but some of the guys stayed out. It's going to be hard to run them down. These radial tires here, Mike, don't give up a whole lot, so I don't know that new tires are going to be that big an advantage.
We'll see. Dick Trickle had a little trouble sliding into his pit space. That's the reason Marlin was late getting out of the pits, and Trickle slid in. Let's have a look and show you what happened here. They have put sealer on the right side of the screen on that surface of pit road where the cars stop, and you see, perhaps you can see the old surface to the left. And as we look from the grandstand at that area, it's very slick appearing. in the night lights here, and apparently, Neil, it's a little slick getting in and out of there on that sealer.
Mike, last night, see the glow you see right there where the car's pulling out now? It looks like ice right there. A lot of the drivers spun in practice trying to come in there real hot and see how hot they could get in for the qualifying last night. It's just a sealer to protect the track and paint it for the numbers for the pit area, and it might be just a little bit slippery.
Let's have another look at what happened to bring out this second caution in the Winston Open. Racing along with Jerry O'Neill, H.V. Bailey goes for a twirl.
Yeah, he's got to turn backwards, and guy gets under right here. Here's what you want to do. You want this nice racetrack to sweep you back down off of there quickly. He's up on the wall. He's hung up there. The problem, if you start across, I think he releases the brakes right here. There he does. He might have saw an opening. He comes on down across the track. But, boy, that's a terrible feeling with that driver's door facing traffic.
Especially since he dropped down right between the first and second place car.
Yep.
Tense moment there for H.B. Bailey. Light is out on the safety car. Buddy Baker, we've got one lap, and we're going back to green. How are you looking?
I'll tell you, we're in trouble. We hadn't got any brakes. I'm going to have to ride it out.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, if he doesn't have any brakes on that car, he's got his hands full. It's just, you know, you don't use that much brake here, but you've got to have it in case there's a problem.
I don't know, man. It's awful to go down in that corner with no brakes. If somebody was to happen to slow up, I'd run all over them. You know what I mean?
Mike, he's talking to the pit guys, and I know what he means. I've been out there before.
Up, so it's wrong with the doggone O-rings.
But he's enough of a mechanic there. He knows what's wrong. He's blown an O-ring and a caliper, and when he says he can pump it up, as he pumps it, the fluid will drain on down. Maybe he's got enough. If there's a problem, he can pump it up and dodge it, but that's a terrible feeling. You can hear Buddy's voice. He doesn't like that idea of driving without the brakes.
No way to go racing, but you got to do the best with what you've got. There's Hut Strickland and Mike Waltrip. They were the first cars to get out of the pit, so they're the first cars with fresh tires, and they are 4th and 5th. Brett Bodine is the leader. Jimmy Hensley in the Phillips 66 car. Cale Yarborough's car is 2nd, and Bobby Hamilton is 3rd. They did not pit. Let's see if track position or new tires is more important as they get the green flag.
Well, the new tires, if they're going to take advantage of them, they're going to have to hustle, because the shorter time remaining, they're going to have to work this traffic in a hurry.
Let's get an update on Brett Bodine's car from the race leader's pit. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, just as you speculated, the other guys gambled on changing tires. Mike Waltrip making a heck of a move right now. As you can see, Brett Bodine's crowd decided, hey, we're going to gamble the other way. We're going to make you catch us with those new tires.
Well, I'll tell you what, Glenn, you hit the nail on the head. That was as much a very impressive. Mike Waltrip passed 5 cars in the first turn.
And he's coming. Left Hut Strickland pretty well behind. Wally Donovac on that restart dropped tail end of the field. Eddie Veerswall also having some problems and getting shuffled back there. We're up front with Brett Bodine in the Quaker State car. The Kenny Bernstein machine. And right with him comes Jimmy Hensley, standout of the NASCAR Busch Grand National Division, in the Cale Yarborough seat. And he's got a mirror full of Michael Waltrip coming fast. There he is, Waltrip, in that yellow Pennzoil car. He's moved past Bobby Hamilton and now sits 3rd.
Mike, he's just passing him as he comes to him. Those new tires, we were wondering how much it would help. Watch this right here. You're fixing to see how much it helps. Get up there. Watch him crank it. He can probably crank it right down under him coming off this corner. There he goes. He swung to the outside. He's being a little protective of the inside lane, so Mike can try the outside. He's got to get one more car to be in the race. Here he goes. He ran the high line to take the lead earlier. Here he goes again.
Jimmy Hensley racing on worn tires, Mike Waltrip on new ones. There's the difference, and Waltrip is up onto the bubble spot. Bodine and Waltrip. There's your Napa update.
Boy, that shows me, Mike, I was sitting there almost critical, saying, why would they put new tires on there? That is why they put new tires on there. Billy Engel and those guys knew that when they stuck them on there, they could do what they're doing, and Mike's right back in the lead.
Now Brett Bodine has to protect 2nd spot. Now he's on the bubble. Here comes Strickland. Right to the bottom of the racetrack and into 2nd place. Last year, there were 3 spots available from the Winston Open to transfer in to the Winston. And the drivers that made it were Marlin, Waltrip, and Strickland. Look at this pack. They just bounced and bobbled all the way through the grass, racing hard in the middle of the field.
That was our 2nd trip through the grass. There were 4 abreast, and Gary Blue went all the way through the trial along the grass.
I think that's Baker right in the middle of them. Lead change, and here comes Strickland. Hut Strickland from Calera, Alabama.
And here comes Waltrip. Do you think both of them realize that those 1 and 2 is in the race? I doubt it. They're going to try to win this thing.
Well, nobody wants to be second because you could easily get to be third. Brett Bodine in third spot now. Greg Sachs has moved up to fourth. Jimmy Hensley is fifth. There they are, third, fourth, fifth, and add Dick Trickle, the sixth-place car, into that bunch. 3 laps to go.
There's Sachs down on the inside.
Be 2 this time by. This is for third place. And all this is an I'm going home with more money than you place. The third place does not transfer. 2 laps.
And there's Walker right back up on him.
Gary Ballou's gone to the garage. Trickle and that brown and red Snickers car going around Brett Bodine. And now Jimmy Hensley moving up a notch. Battle for the lead. Mike Waltrip's going to take it right back to Hut Strickland. White flag this time by. 1 lap to go, and both of these drivers can advance to the Winston.
Mikey just wants to advance in front.
Right. First place just pays a little more, that's all.
And a lot of bragging rights.
28,000 to the winner, 19 for second. And the chance to make some more money tonight. Last lap, Waltrip the leader, Strickland in second. Sachs is third, Trickle is fourth, Hensley fifth. Bodine is sixth, then Hamilton, Hill, and Spencer, and Buddy Baker. Checkered flag. Michael Waltrip, for the second year in a row, wins the Winston Open. Hut Strickland finishes a strong second, and they will advance. Margin of victory, 0.47 seconds. Buddy Baker, you gave it a good ride, and it looked like you were in a real heavy pack of traffic those last few laps.
I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
Said you gave it a good ride, and it looked like you're in a real thick pack of traffic those last few laps.
Yeah, I tell you, we had trouble. I had no brakes right near the end there, and I had to just ride it out. The car was plenty good to win the race, I think. Mighty good car, boys. I'm sorry them brakes went out.
Well, Buddy, get changed. Come on up and join us topside.
Okay, I'll be up in a minute, Mike. Did y'all get some pretty good pictures?
We sure did. Thanks for giving us a good ride.
Okay, partner. I would have talked to you if you'd have talked to me. I know it's a good race. I wish that a bit.
Trying to figure out how to stop it now.
He'll find a way.
Drag that big foot out the window. It'll slow down.
We'll go to Victory Lane and visit with the drivers who will transfer to the Winston as One Hot Night continues after this. Coverage of One Hot Night, the Winston, is brought to you by AC Delco. It's like buying time. Those flashbulbs in the grandstand are going off as the pole sitter's car is being pushed into position for the start of the Winston. Davey Allison, who won it all here last year and is looking for 2 in a row, and a kind of mixed reaction from the crowd, Neil.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of them are booing, a lot of them are hollering. They're tired of seeing Fords win all the races, and the Ford guys are hollering. I tell you, they got a battle going downstairs in the grandstands.
That car's been so dominant all this week and this week last year. Part of that huge crowd here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and they've just seen a great one as Mike Waltrip and Hut Strickland will transfer to the Winston. Let's join Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike is being pulled in every direction, being kissed by everybody down here. I ain't going to kiss you, buddy, but what a great job.
Golly, I couldn't believe it. I made up my mind when they threw the green. We got to turn 1. I was going to go wherever anybody else wasn't, and I did. And the sea parted. I came out the other side, and then Hut came on and passed me. What a race. I got to thank a few people, Glenn. I want to thank Pennzoil, my sponsor, James L. Pate down in Houston, Texas. This is for you, buddy. We really pulled it through, and looking forward to the rest of the year. All the race fans that are riding around this race team, my car owners, Chuck and Pat Ryder. Pat, I got the first one. This is for your mantle. I hope you like it. Mom and Daddy up in the condo and everybody watching. Just a great day for Michael Waltrip and the whole Pennzoil Bahari team. Looking forward to getting a hold of some of this money Winston's putting up in the race coming up.
Well, you can't tell at all that this guy is excited. Good luck in the Winston. And now let's go to that other guy who put on a whale of a show, Randy Pemberton with Hut Strickland.
Well, you'd think Hut would be excited, but actually, Hut, you're a little bit frustrated when you got out of the car. You guys, winning is everything to a driver.
Well, it really is. You know, we worked awful hard. We wanted to win this race real bad, and
you know, I guess the good thing about it, we're in the Winston. But, you know, this Ray Bustus brakes, Meineke muffler, tic-tac Chevy really ran good. It was just a little bit too loose right there at the end. And, you know, Michael seen that, and he just tucked up on the back end of me, getting off 2 there one time and got me sideways. And, you know, then it was just a deal. I just tried to hold on to it and just take second.
Any difference between daytime and night? You guys were hooked up this afternoon. You were hooked up tonight.
Well, maybe a little bit. You know, the track right now seems to be a little looser, and you'd think at night the thing would be tighter. But you know, that's just, I guess that shows you how much all the teams know.
Okay, we'll see what he can do in the Winston. Katie Haas, what do you have for us?
I've got a big Buddy Baker fan here up here in the grandstands. Your name is Bill Bands?
Yes.
You're from Carmel, Indiana. Now, what were you thinking when Buddy was out there?
Oh, Buddy was a good Saturday night racer. He's won a lot of races. Always enjoyed him, and I miss him on the radio. He was very colorful.
He's right about that. He can be very colorful. The Winston is coming up live on TNN. The Winston with our newest drivers, Hut Strickland and Michael Waltrip included. Stay with us. You'll see it live on the Nashville Network.
They finished. Mike Waltrip and Hut Strickland will advance to the Winston All-Star race. Greg Sachs finishes in the 3rd position, picks up $15,000. There's the rest of the top 10. Buddy Baker will have $6,800 in his pocket as he joins us topside. Avid fans of Winston Cup Racing can keep track on their favorite sport every week here on TNN on Inside Winston Cup Racing. Here's show host, 2-time Grand National champ Ned Jarrett.
Well, Mike, certainly there has been some exciting times over the years since the Winston started a number of years ago, and we have been able to capture many of those exciting moments. Randy Pemberton of Inside Winston Cup Racing takes a look back at the Winston.
The 1989 The Winston was perhaps the most infamous of all. A confrontation among the Waltrip and Wallace pit crews at the conclusion was alone worth the price of admission. It all started in 1985. The Winston, an all-star shootout for the fans. A chance to see only the best battle it out for big bucks. Darrell Waltrip won the inaugural event, puffing a power plant as he picked up the checkered flag. In 1986, the Winston was moved to Atlanta on Mother's Day. The race returned to Charlotte the next season and become one of the premier racing events of the year. After leading the first 2 segments in the 1987 The Winston, Bill Elliott got into a battle with Dale Earnhardt. They went bumper to bumper, door to door, and traded plenty of paint for first position.
He slid up, I got under him, clearly under. He cut down on me, cut me off. You know, I was clearly there. Come back around here, I was clearly under him good, coming back here to the tri-oval. He tried to cut me off again to the grass.
I held my ground. I'll hold it from now on. I can get rough as he can, but you know, it's like when he come up beside me, I didn't knock him into the wall or turn him sideways. I carried him up the racetrack, let him know I was ill, but I didn't knock him sideways or nothing. And you know, he weighed on me and tried to wreck me at the caution. I think he got a little out of hand.
That was the first of 2 Winston wins for Earnhardt. In 1988, it was Terry Labonte. Then the Wallace-Waltrip War in '89. Again in 1990, Dale Earnhardt leading all the way and picking up $325,000. Last year, it was Davey Allison in a flag-to-flag flight in the Haviland Star. The drivers, they experienced the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat. There's no in-between in the Winston.
Well, who will taste that thrill of victory here tonight in the Winston? You know, there might be one team would have a little bit of advantage. Kirk Shelmerdine ran a race here just a little while ago, and Glenn Jarrett is standing by with him.
Well, thanks, Dad. I've always wanted to get a throw from you, and I finally got it. I am standing by with Kirk Shelmerdine. Kirk got a little hairy out there a while ago in the sportsman race, but you've changed hats now, so to speak. You're ready to crew this thing for Dale. What do you see tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be a pretty good race. Dale seems to be
fired up, and the car is running fairly well. We think we got a shot at them.
Can you believe the noise down here on the track, all these fans?
Yeah, they're really getting into it.
What was going through your mind up there a while ago coming off turn 4 when your car was turning around?
I was busy at the time. I don't really remember what I was thinking.
All right, how has Dale said about the car under the lights? Are you guys really comfortable with that now?
We've practiced a lot at nighttime during the past couple of weeks, and he said the lights really don't bother him. If anything, the weather's a little bit cooler when it's like this, and other than that, he likes it.
Well, this team is ready, as Kirk said. Let's go back up to Mike.
Well, they're parading all the drivers around. There's Dale Earnhardt in the back of one of those Oldsmobile pace cars. Let's take a look at how they qualified for the running of the Winston in tonight's Haviland Update. Here at Charlotte, Davey Allison and this car, nicknamed 007, are picking up right where they left off last year. The defending champion of the Winston and the Coca-Cola 600 is set to try and do it all again from the pole. Qualifying for the Winston consisted of 3 laps and a pit stop. Not only Davey's driving, but the coordination of his Larry McReynolds-led pit crew, getting him in and out with 2 tires in just 11 seconds, put the Haviland Ford at the top and brought Robert Yates Racing $50,000 for just over 2 minutes' work. Rusty Wallace qualified on the outside pole. His 3-lap average put the Miller Pontiac on the outside of the front row and picked up $10,000. Pit stops were critical. Ernie Irvin will start back in 17th due to clutch troubles during his pit stop. And Kyle Petty had trouble of his own. A 10-second penalty for running over the air hose. There it is. There it goes. He'll start 16th. Mark Martin didn't even make it to the pit stop. His engine let go on the 2nd lap of qualifying, putting the Valvoline Ford near the back of the pack. For Davey Allison's spot, his crew picks up $25,000.
Larry McReynolds, Robert Yates, and all the guys at the shop, and especially the pit crew, are what made this possible. I lost some time coming in the pits. I didn't have a good entry into the pits, and we had a killer pit stop. And they put us back out there, and it was enough to make the difference.
Well, for that strength in qualifying, we'll award the Miller Genuine Draft Pit Crew Award to the Texaco Haviland team. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Larry McReynolds, congratulations on winning the pole for the Winston. Davey Allison said it was that fast pit stop that did it. So on behalf of Miller Genuine Draft, we are presenting you with the Pit Crew of the Race Award.
Well, I appreciate it. I can gladly accept this tonight for the entire Texaco Haviland Ford race team, because as Davey said, it was the pit stop that was the pivotal point in the Texaco Ford sitting on the pole tonight. The effort tonight, I think, shows people that Winston Cup racing is definitely a team sport, because every member of the Texaco team played a pivotal role in sitting on the pole here tonight.
Well, the drivers have completed their lap all the way around the speedway in the back of those convertibles to the noise of the crowd, and Glenn Jarrett moves over from the 28 car to the most famous number in stock car racing and its driver, the King.
Well, right now the King is being interviewed on the PA here, Mike. He gave me a funny comment just a minute ago. He turned around and looked at me and winked. He said, looked up in the stands. He said, boy, it's a real shame that they don't have any people here tonight. What a festivity, huh, Richard?
Yeah, it's something else. I've been here all day and all day yesterday and all night last night. And, you know, it's just like a big circus as far as I'm concerned. I'm just happening to be one of the clowns that's in it.
Well, you're probably the most recognized clown here. What do you think now about night racing? Everybody had a little bit of, I guess, trepidation, hesitation about it, but it's been fun so far.
Man, you know, I used to run dirt tracks with 40 light watt bulbs in each corner. This thing here is lit so good, I don't know how to handle it, but, you know, it looks like everything's working out real good, and, you know, watching the races and stuff, and boys look like it's maneuvering pretty good, so I got to go do my job now.
Well, good luck tonight. Mike Joy?
Richard Petty climbing aboard the throne of the King here in the Winston. They're getting ready to fire them up, and we'll be back as One Hot Night continues after this.